How's it going today, everybody? Thanks for clicking on the video. My name is Warren Rogers. Man, I was just supposed to go to a party. Got dressed, got in my car, drove over to the place, pulled up outside, looked at the building, or wherever the fuck the party was inside, and said, I'm going home. So, back at the crib, and we're gonna do something actually fun. We're gonna watch and review a video about how the universe is in somebody's brain. Let's go.
Comparisons like how atoms resemble solar systems and how the structure of the universe is similar to neurons in our brains. It's interesting to note that the number of stars in a galaxy, galaxies in the universe, atoms in a cell, and cells in a living being are all around the same huge number, between 10 to the power of 11 to 10 to the power of 14. About 77% of the brain is water, while about 69% of the universe is filled with dark energy. These are both passive materials that have indirect roles in their respective structures. This leads to some intriguing questions. Could we be like cells in a giant creature, but on a planetary scale that hasn't realized its existence yet? How could we?
I wanna pause and put emphasis on what he just said. Could we possibly be cells in some giant creature, organism, machine, whatever people want to call it? Let's go.
Even find out? It's very difficult to answer a question like this directly, because we aren't 100% certain of what consciousness and self-awareness actually are. This approach allows us to determine whether large-scale cosmic sentient structures might exist within the universe. There is consciousness within the universe, certainly. You and I are proof of that. As human beings, we are self-aware creatures with a strong sense of what's going on around us, and we interact with each other. Some philosophers float the solipsistic notion that the self is all one can know exists, but our practical, day-to-day interaction with each other tells us otherwise.
Whatever's happening to us is causing us to ponder this question. What are we? What is consciousness? What does it mean to be a living organism?
Things we're reasonably confident can think, which is the brain, have a lot of connections, and send a lot of information back and forth through those connections. Even leaving aside that we don't understand consciousness, high connectivity, and rapid signaling seem conducive to thinking. That the universe is structurally similar to the brain raises the question of whether it has similar thinking capacities. It seems that both the universe and the brain engage in the reception and integration of information. The level of complexity and information processing found within our brains may manifest at both the grandest and most minuscule scales of the universe. The idea that the universe is kind of like a living thing, such as an organism or a brain, isn't new. It goes way back, at least to 500 BC, when Anaxagoras first thought of it. He was an ancient Greek philosopher who suggested that there's a smart force called nous, guiding the universe to become more organized and purposeful. Nowadays, we might think of nous.
Think about what he just said. There's a force out there guiding the universe. Right? Think about the way algorithms work.
In August 2022, theoretical physicist Sabine Hossenfelder wrote an article for Time magazine titled, "Maybe the Universe Thinks, Hear Me Out." In the article, she points out similarities between the structure of the universe and the human nervous system. Just like our nervous system, the universe has a highly interconnected and hierarchical organization. The galaxies, estimated to be around 200 billion, aren't randomly spread out, but are grouped together by gravity into clusters, which then form even larger clusters. These clusters are connected by galactic filaments, long threads of galaxies. These mammoth structures exhibit dendritic networks, much like neurons in the human brain, with vast voids punctuating the spaces between them, creating an awe-inspiring celestial web. Zooming out to see the entire cosmos, these structures resemble the connectome of the brain, which is the complete wiring diagram formed by neurons and their connections. In the brain, neurons also cluster together, forming larger groups, and are connected by axons, which transmit electrical signals across the cognitive system. However, having a similar structure doesn't necessarily mean the universe can think. Just like a dead brain doesn't have thoughts, the universe needs more than just its structure to think. Thinking requires neuronal signaling, where electrical messages move around the brain. But what kind of signals could the universe be sending along these galactic filaments? She suggests that mechanisms like quantum entanglement or other types of non-local connections could enable longer-range computations. These phenomena suggest that particles and systems can be instantaneously linked regardless of the distance between them.
They saying, man, fuck 5G. The universe running on 20G, nigga. Stop playing.
As if they are intricately connected. This interconnectedness hints at a deeper level of organization within the universe, transcending the boundaries of space and time. In a section titled Everything is Connected, she explains how a universe with non-local connections would make sense for various reasons. If these speculations hold true, the universe might be full of tiny portals connecting seemingly distant places. Physicists Fotini Markov.
Let's ponder on that for a second.
Apollo and Lee Smolin estimated that our universe could have as many as 10 to the power of 360 of such non-local connections. In comparison, the human brain has around 10 to the power of 15 connections. While highly speculative, this concept could potentially explain recent observations of mysterious synchronizations between structures on opposite sides of the universe. For instance, a study in the Astrophysical Journal from 2019 found a surprising coherence in the movements of galaxies millions of light years apart, too distant for gravitational forces to account for. Similarly, in 2014, the European Observatory reported strange alignments in the rotations of supermassive black holes across vast distances, along with coherence among distant quasars, bright galactic cores. These findings suggest possible non-local connections between systems in different parts of the universe, and they appear too numerous to be mere coincidences. If valid, this implies that the universe could serve as a platform for the kind of large-scale computation or thinking proposed by Hossenfelder.
Thinking. Algorithm. What if our universe is ran by an AI, bro? Has anybody ever questioned how all these stars just happen to maintain rotation and position and everything just seems to function on autopilot? Why do the seasons always happen in these particular cycles? What's maintaining that? Hold on, let's look at something real quick here. Y'all. Let's look at something real quick, y'all. Let's look at this. Let's look at something here. Have y'all ever seen something like this? How is this being done? This has always been so amazing to me. Now, there's only a couple things that I can even think to explain this shit, man, when you look at it. Either the birds are speaking to each other, which they're not. We already know that's not happening. Even if they were, the level of communication amongst all these different beings able to coordinate themselves like this would be amazing. Or you could say these beings are all connected on some sort of mental spectrum. That's the only other way I could think about it, man. Birds have interesting capabilities, even the ones that we do know that they're doing. The ability to become linked to the electromagnetic spectrum and just fly to different lands without a map. All these high altitudes, go to these different nesting grounds. Shit's pretty amazing, bro. But the only way that I could explain this type of behavior is that all these birds are connected on a level that we just don't understand yet. Maybe the whole universe is connected in this particular way already. And we're just now tapping into that idea or that understanding.